All right, coaches, welcome back to another episode of the New Jersey High School Strength Coaches Podcast. I'm Zach Evanesh. I'm with my friend Paul Collodi, strength coach at Hunterdon Central High School. And we're coming to you powered by the National High School Strength Coaches Association. And March is March Madness. What was the discount for membership this month, Paul?
25% off for either a new or if you let it lapse, you get 25% off to come back.
Yeah, so pretty much everybody's got 25% off. Go to nhssca.us. If you are a high school coach working in the schools, possibility that your, your department, whether it's athletics or physical education, could fund this for continuing education, because inside the nhssca.us website, we have the members area, which has professional development, and you could see videos, whether it's instructionals on power clean, speed training, program design, setting up a weight room, fundraising. There's all kinds of continuing education information in there for you to check out. You know, people that have come on board, Paul, they love it. They're like, man, this is the most awesome Facebook group. I love the people. I love the website. And to really get the most out of it, you should be a legitimate member.
Yeah, no doubt. And you have a little skin in the game too. You know, you're in there, and you know, a little bit of cash down makes you want to go in there and get involved a little bit more.
Yep.
One of our coaches asked me today, he said, how many guys are in your organization? And I said, you know, we have, you know, I don't know how many thousand are in the actual members, but we have over 5,000 members on Facebook. So
yeah,
it's not nearly.
Yeah, if it wasn't discounted, it's $100. And I think about it, like, coaches are always ready to buy this piece of equipment, that piece of equipment, and just, you got to invest in your knowledge, your education. And, you know, in New Jersey, if you're just in the Facebook group, but you're not a member, like, we send some of our guys to, rough you up a little bit. Oh, you take him outside, slap him around a little bit.
I told coach today, I say, hey, listen, you got to cut back 2 Zeppeli runs a week instead of 4.
Easy.
And you save $100 right there, you know?
Easy. Forget about it. Easy. So we posted that we're going to be podcasting solo. Last episode we did, we just posted Coach Schrock. Okay. Then we had Scott. How do I say Scott's last name? Furson?
Yeah.
Furson. I wasn't sure if it was Pearson or Furson. Speaking about the Griffin Challenge, which is he does at the end of March. When he does that challenge, I didn't ask him. He does it for the 2 hours and 15 minutes.
2 hours and 5 minutes for the main one. The challenge itself that Gary put together is that 25 jump ropes.
Simple.
3 rounds. We're going to do it Friday. Where everybody who comes in my way on Friday, that's our warm up.
Dude, my school, I just got an email not 30 minutes ago. My school is shut down again.
Come on.
For 3 days. We've been crushing it. We're recording this Tuesday. School is shut down until next Monday. They didn't really, they just said like COVID concerns. We were crushing it, and kids were coming, seniors not so much coming back, but I have a freshman class is like pretty much like 80% full, nice. Maybe a little bit more. And so here we are again, we were like 10 steps forward. Now we're going back, and it doesn't take much to lose kids, Paul, right?
I know.
It's a matter of days, and then they start slipping and doing this and doing that. So it's tricky, my man. So we're going to tackle these questions and just kind of have a free conversation going. We'll just let things flow. How have things been going for you guys? It's been a while since you guys have shut down.
We never did. We never. Yeah, we've been going strong since we opened up in September. We haven't had any shutdowns at all.
Holy cow. We shut down like early December. Mm-hmm. Then we returned in, right after the new year. We had that extended week after Thanksgiving, which was already planned. And we may have had like a short one kind of earlier in the year. It's kind of a blur to me.
Mhm.
And your school is huge. Your school is a regional school, so bigger than my high school.
We cut out lunch, so
So did
if
we.
uh, and I don't know, we still get the emails that there's cases, but they do the tracing and everybody's okay.
Yeah.
So it's been good. Um, I wanted to give a shout out to Coach Cody Hughes at Madison Academy, Alabama. Hey, good news! Alabama had an in-person family day last weekend. Coach Keith was talking about it, and I know Coach Jacoby went down there. Um, there were some great speakers. One of them, Coach Herschel, my favorite mantra for his school, Saraland, defend the land. I love it.
Dude,
He spoke.
John is all, I watch his Instagram and I deleted my social apps for a bit. I look at John's Instagram. They're crushing it. They've got a beautiful weight room. Then they got a massive turf. Dude,
Imagine that.
yeah.
Imagine out right outside your bubble, a big turf like that covered. Come on.
Yeah. And I just like what he's doing. They're working. And people give me flack for that I'm so focused on athletes working and getting after it. High school kids don't have the discipline of a advanced collegiate athlete who could sit, rest, focus, be in the zone. I mean, a little downtime for a high school kid, and then it's like, coach, how many sets? How many reps? What am I doing? What am I doing? I forgot to do the rows. bench. I'm benching and kettlebell rowing. I've just been benching. I forgot about that. You know, in college, you've got so much equipment. You've got a smaller group. I mean, even now with the small groups, the kids are getting distracted. But I watch what John's doing. From what I understand, they get their kids. The teams come down during specific blocks,
Yeah.
and I'm not sure who outfitted his equipment. I remember looking at it. I wasn't sure who did it. It was a equipment company I don't think I've heard about. Um, um, I can't remember. I can't recall who set it up, but he's got it in such a way where there's kind of like I think two-sided squat racks.
Mhm.
There's like a lane, and then in the middle are these. They don't have dumbbells. They got the Rogue Fat Bells.
Fat bells. Yeah.
So he could just, instead of going dumbbells, kettlebells, he just went with fat bells. And you got like kids on each side, but you see them jumping with medicine balls. You see them doing cleans. You see them doing body weight exercises. They're benching with Swiss bars. It's really cool. Boys, girls, just moving and working. You see them out on the turf, jumping, throwing med balls, farmer walks, animal crawls, cartwheels. He's really great, and he'll post like 8 videos a day, and makes me feel lazy.
You're
You know,
not you lazy. Come on, man.
that's what I'm saying. He's outworking me like eightfold.
Yeah, but
Okay,
he's got a cover turf. We got New Jersey. We still got some snow on the ground. Let's
dude,
go.
we got cement outside. So today we warmed up on the concrete, did our movement prep, did some jumps. Then I take them to the little hill. I do like some very short hill sprints, not very far, but like I'll go short. Then I might back up a little bit when they're not looking. I might have, if it's wrestling, I might send like certain weight classes against each other. Same thing in football. So the skill guys don't keep winning. I had a couple girls in, softball players. So I had them, I would say, walk, and they would like sidestep, lateral step, and then sprint, turn and sprint, and just teaching them basic stuff. Like you got to get your knees higher, you got to got to get those elbows moving. It's been going great. And then I got that email and a voicemail. Boom, we're closed for 3 days. And it's like, dude, we're picking up steam. I'm seeing all the smiling faces. It's like, come on, it's crushing me.
Well, the good thing is it's going to be good weather the next couple of days. So tell them to get outside, sprint, run.
65.
Yeah,
I know.
beautiful.
I know. So I'll put stuff together. So who else gets a shout out? Who else
Well,
gets a shout out?
Georgia at Coach Jacoby's place on April 10th. So in about a month, he's having an in person as well. So, again, that's to me, that's the good feel that we're starting to get
Yes.
some in person ones.
Also, New York governor said restaurants will be allowed at 75% capacity. So that's like, hey, that's a big thing. I did see that the CDC released, I'm not sure if it's specific to New Jersey, but they released that people who have had the vaccine, which I'm not getting into all that stuff here, but it said something to the effect of if you're fully vaccinated, those people could gather indoors without a mask, but continue to social distance. Um, Vaccinated people could come together in the same way with people considered at low risk for severe disease, healthy children, grandchildren. CDC recommends that fully vaccinated people still wear masks and avoid large gatherings. But yeah, man, it's interesting that things are moving forward. Still scary times, man. Here we go, school shut down, but everywhere is different. I don't know who we've got out in like Arizona, but I've heard like the hot weather states have kind of never shut down. Arizona has not shut down.
Well,
No masks.
I'll be happy when, we can take the masks down and see the kids' faces again and their smiles. And,
No.
it's tough right now, but, if it's going to keep this from getting worse, all for another week or two, hey, let's get at it, get the vaccinations in and we'll get through the holidays. I'm heading to the beach for the holidays. We're going down to Ocean City, New Jersey, which will be a blast.
Yeah.
Get just to get away, and it's going to be fun. Little family holiday there.
Paul, coaches need to get away. Coach Schrock said it. He said like take time to see the family, see your kids playing sports. It's just Scott really working a lot. Coach Schrock said it like you got to give yourself time. The weight room will not explode if you're not without you. He said he's like, man, I don't think they noticed I was gone when I left. He's like, I thought they were gonna miss me. I think
You weren't here.
they kind of like sometimes when you're gone. I know at my private gym, the kids can't wait for the other coaches to come back. I think they think I'm nuts. Like I'm so hard on them all the time. Squat lower, do that. Like it's just, I think kids can't handle that.
You still have Coach Running Man working with you?
No, Coach Running Man only worked for a little bit. I was in touch with him not long ago. He's working for he's an accountant. So I think he's working for a pretty big accounting firm. But what a great kid. What a hard worker.
Oh, he was awesome. He was awesome.
We called this kid Running Man because he was he was a track and field athlete year round, loved to run, and he was tough. He only trained once a week with us.
He was a weight room warrior with us, so he would always say that he was going down to you too, and
he only came once a week, which is great, 100% more than zero.
And he was awesome. And well, you went to NJ. I think you went to TCNJ.
He did, but his first year he was maybe Coastal Carolina or Eastern Carolina, something like that. Didn't work out. Came to College of New Jersey and graduated there, which is a great school, great academic school, great athletics, solid place. Should we tackle some questions, Paul?
Let's get on it. So I'm gonna throw the first one out, and you can start with it. It's from Coach Derone. Hope I'm not butchering his last name. He asked, "What's a great pattern for power in young athletes or young adults?" So he was asking about, do you use Olympic lifts? Do you use trap bar jumps? Do you use medicine balls?
Yeah.
What gets that power patterning down when they're young?
I was thinking about this, and I can't remember who I saw teaching it, but it was from our NHS SCA group. Just somebody was like taking a full group of athletes through the power clean, and they were going like position 1, position 2. I mean, such beautifully organized, and the kids were moving amazing. And I was like, man, that is impressive. And so I'm going to give them kind of 2 answers. At my public school, last year I was there for 4 months and starting to really make some headway with them and get kids in consistently. Because it's not mandatory, what happens with, weightlifting is you get somebody learning the front squat, then you get them doing the RDL, then you get a kid or maybe you get 25% of the kids who are in a week, gone 2 weeks. And then you want to teach this stuff, but then you got those kids that are like, want to do it, but they haven't been there for 2 weeks. And so I haven't been able to perform any of the, weightlifting movements at the public high school. We've been doing a lot of jumping, a lot of hill sprints. We do medicine ball throws against the wall. Last year when I was there, I remember taking a small group outside doing med ball throws. It was like the early days of the baseball. It was, I can't remember, it was some football kids. I think it was a lot of baseball. It was a baseball group. And I was teaching them all the different throws outside, sprinting. And so I keep the stuff, less complex because I have too much kids coming and going. Their inconsistency has really been tricky on me, to say the least. Trying to figure out better ways to communicate with these kids, and they go to a private guy, then they come to the public school, then they want to do this and that. So long story short, at my underground strength gym, I do a lot of cleans from different positions: above the knee, below the knee, from the floor. We do power clean, we do a clean, squat clean, full clean, whatever people call it. We also do med ball throws, a lot of jumping of hurdles, different directions, not just forwards, but one leg, two leg, going left, going right. Today I had 3 lanes with different sized hurdles, and you had to jump the hurdles. You could go forward, sideways, one leg. And as soon as you landed, there was like 2 to 3 hurdles. You did like a quick acceleration. I don't have a long turf. And then you had to decelerate and stop. So we do a lot of jumping, med ball throws, and box jumps from different positions: start kneeling, seating, approach jump, no approach, you name it. I really am such a big believer that, Mike Schrock said it: you got to be able to bend. If you can't bend your knees and hips, if you can't move, I don't care how much you could clean or squat. And that to me is everything, your ability to move. Because even at my time at Division 1, there's always kind of like these guys that are moving the most weight, but they disconnect from the sport. They might have the guts in the weight room, but then they got no guts wrestling, or football. I've heard that's like a common thing in football. The guy who's killing the weight room is oftentimes not killing it on the football field, which is really strange. Would love to speak with like a psychologist or something about how is there this disconnect? Is it because you're safe in the weight room, meaning you're not competing against somebody else? You're the best, you know what I mean? Like, you're not threatened by somebody else coming at you. I'm still trying to figure that out. And so, yes, it all depends on the location and the situation. And if the kids at my public school, if I had more consistency with them, I would be doing more of the weightlifting. And what's been on my mind a lot is I got to start front squatting with these guys. I got to get them into the position. And you know where we're going to end up being, Paul? You guys are doing cleans. If I haven't seen you for a while, you're going to do trap bar deadlift jumps, or you're going to do a kettlebell clean and press. It's not the same, but they're going to work.
Yeah, it's just moving it fast. I told the guys today, I said, I don't care how much weight. Sometimes I see these, I don't have velocity-based training. I don't have any of that stuff. But when you watch a bar move fast, it's fast. Like I see videos with the cleans and they just look slow. I'm sure the bar is moving fast, especially when it's heavy. It's got to move fast to beat gravity. But, we do bar snatches. I have 15-pound bars. I have 35-pound bars. And even for our young ladies, our Lady Red Devils, they can move that bar pretty fast. And it snaps up. We talk about snapping the bar up. And believe it or not, in my old weight room, we did less of the Olympic movements and more med balls because we could use the outside. I had a big outside parking lot, so I'd put all the med balls out there. We do scoop toss, overhead. But then in the new place, I love the trap bar jumps, jump squats, reset. We use dumbbells as well.
Yeah.
We do banded jumps. So today I hooked up the bands to the back of the racks and we did banded jumps with a stick. And then we had to shuffle back to the left with a hip turn.
With a stick.
So they have to stick the landing, and
Oh,
now
yes.
the band's pulling them back. So every once in a while you get the video camera out.
Yeah. You have
And
to
then
show them.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we did those today. Today was a clean because we front squatted yesterday, so it was fresh in their mind. They,
Yes.
they cleaned. They did a band jump with a stick and then a hip open and a drop step. And then we did some rotational med ball punches against the wall. So a lot of fast, and it was good. The kids responded well. So if Mike, we could say to Mike, any pick your poison, and as long as they're moving the bar fast or moving the med ball, if it's a 40-pound med ball, and again it's only going 2 or 3 feet above their head, chances are they're not moving that ball pretty fast.
It's interesting. You mentioned the med ball. It must have been like 2004, 2003. I had a conversation with the guy who was like the creator of the Dynamax med ball.
Yeah.
And my memory's been bad lately. I don't know what's going on. I need some special vitamins. But I think his name was Jim Crowley.
Mhm.
And he told me that when he was training the NFL guys with the medicine balls, he said he would mostly use a 4 and 6 pound ball. He said the 20-pound ball was only created because CrossFit wanted to do the wall balls. He goes, I don't like that ball. He goes, there's no speed. And there was no YouTube when I spoke to him, but he had a streaming video and he was training a football player and a track athlete. And the guy, I had seen these drills in a Charlie Francis book. You sit on your butt like you're going to do the knee tucks, and the guy would like put the ball on his legs and like kick it back to him, and then Jim would throw it back, kick it back. It was like a hip extension exercise. They were doing walking overhead throws. So if I was your partner, I overhead throw to you as you're walking backwards, and I'm walking at you, chest pass to me, and it's going back and forth, back and forth. Then they would do it lateral. So sometimes at my private facility, I'll do a full med ball complex with partners. So I face you, you face me. We're doing overhead. I do it to your chest. You're going backwards. I'm going at you, then vice versa. Then we face each other and chest pass while moving lateral. Then we jog forwards and do lateral tosses. Then we jog backwards and do it. Then we sit down and do Russian twists, throwing it to one another. When I was at Rutgers, I would often get that warm up segueing into power stuff with medicine balls. So it would be like a half kneeling rotational throw to the partner. I do 5 this side, then you go 5, then we switch sides, then seated Russian twist throw, explosive push-up pass, back and forth, then go to the wall, chest pass, basically a medicine ball complex. By the way, Mike D is a college wrestling coach. We were on the phone a month ago, and what's been great, being part of the NHSSCA is coaches have started reaching out to me more openly. I guess I've been a member for a while, but I guess now, being kind of part of the advisory board with you, is they see me more. So coaches reach out, and it's been really cool. I got to talk with Mike about being a high school strength coach, and it's great. So I've known Mike for a long time. He's a high level wrestling coach, college guy.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's good. The connections, man. The connections you're making. Hey,
Yeah.
and that's the next one. Coach Derone also asked, and I don't have any. I've never used one. The tsunami bar. What's your experience with that?
Mike Strock got me hyped up, because he said he uses it a lot. If you look up on YouTube, one of Mike's presentations is with the tsunami bar with the guy, Gordon, who created it, as well as those speed sticks, also on YouTube. So Mike's facility down there is huge. He said they had the money, so they bought, I think, one at each squat rack. I'll probably pick up one and test it at the private facility. At the public school, I have straight bars, and they're actually power bars, so they're a little bit thicker than a weightlifting bar. Maybe a millimeter thicker? And I have 2 Swiss bars that I bought when Monmouth University upgraded their weight room. They were selling old stuff, and we have 2 safety squat bars. So we're going to keep it at that. I think there needs to be some consistency with my school first before I get any more specialty bars because some of them are still, they struggle during a safety squat bar. Oh, I like it this way. They don't, I try to explain to them, with training, what we want to do is build your weaknesses. So if an exercise is hard for you, we need to do a little bit more of it to build up the weak point, not just, double down on your strength. So
Yeah.
no personal experience yet.
All right. So, Mike, sorry, we can't help you with that one. Hey, this week, Amanda Berg had a great post. She talked about having female only groups, how they just crush it. And I'm with her. I have one every day. So I have a Monday female group, I have a Tuesday female group. The Monday comes back on Wednesday. And my Tuesday group today was girls lacrosse, softball, and I had some field hockey players in there. And man, they just crushed it. Front squat day. Um, not all of them can get their hands back, so I let them use the straps. But man,
Right.
just depth and coachable, and yeah, awesome.
Girls are so coachable. How have you been able to get the girls in? Because I have a handful of girls that come. I honestly think, even though I just asked you the question, Paul, I feel like if the coach makes it important, then the kids will show up. So if the coach does not schedule it for those kids, they will not show up. And then the coaches who are with the girls sports are like, yeah, well, blah blah blah. Look, if you don't think it's important, why are they going to think it's important? And
Yeah,
so, right, today I had three girls. It's the same three girls. Sometimes it's a fourth or fifth girl with them. These girls are softball. One plays field hockey and softball. Um, but yeah, they're really serious. And one girl kind of organizes. And then I have like sometimes a couple of girls soccer players, but they've been a little bit hit or miss. But in the off season, we need the off season. If you're only training in season, now they're going to be sore. They're not going to like it. Then they're like, oh no, I'm going to be sore and I got to practice. You need the off season.
yeah,
So
no
what
doubt.
was your secret, Paul, to get these girls in?
It's been, well, 10 years. I mean, and it's been the coaches do buy in. But again, you said this earlier, that there's nothing mandatory in New Jersey, and there are different places where they can go. And if you think about the girls' sports, field hockey, uh, lacrosse, and soccer, the three big ones, and even basketball, their clubs are supreme in New Jersey.
Yep.
They're all year round. So it's tough competing with the club sports and time, because it always seems like coach can't come tonight. I got a club practice tonight. So they have to realize that this downtime is important to build mobility back, strength back, stability back, all of these things.
Yeah.
And I talk about buckets all the time. Hey, which bucket are you filling right now? Because if you're refilling your basketball bucket, like say it's a basketball player, it
Agreed.
doesn't need filling right now. It's full.
Mike Boyle talks about these buckets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So right now your stability bucket empty. Your speed and agility bucket, not too bad, because again, basketball is speed and agility.
Yep.
But strength, stability, mobility, all of those things, we got to really dial that in. And they
It's
they get it.
yeah. I trained our girls basketball team, and
Mhm.
last year I didn't train with them. They came in once last year. I had like 75 kids in there. The girls kind of got lost that day. They went to the back. They kind of did their own thing. Da, da, da. They had a bad taste in their mouth from that one day. Never came back. Then the coach's daughter was training with me during soccer, and she was telling her dad, like, Dad, it's been great. It's been awesome. They started coming in. The daughter's killing it. The soccer girls are killing it. The basketball girls, we warmed up with some squats, some lunges, some med ball throws on a Thursday. Their legs were still sore on Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Your legs shouldn't be sore for 4.5 days from body weight lunges,
Nope.
which shows you like you got to be in here. The way to get rid of the soreness, and the girls need muscle. I think the girls tend to fall into I always say, don't eat like an adult. Your parents might be intermittent fasting or going keto. You're a kid. You're an athlete. You need carbs. You need
Yeah.
breakfast. And the girls could get kind of like, they could go down that lane. So, and Amanda's right. Having those girl only groups, those girls, they don't want to listen to like gangster rap, you know? And
Country.
so, yeah, they have a different feel. But I'll tell you, my first year, I did have some girls in at the same time as boys. They were overlapping. And and Rich and I, who we interviewed, we were like, we got to get them alone. It'll be distracting. And you know what? They were unfazed. Maybe because the kids at my school are just so nice, they're friendly to one another. It wasn't a problem.
Mhm.
But I think the girls like when they're alone, they could do, girls are different. Like they could talk to each other and still hear what I'm saying with sets and reps.
Yeah.
Whereas the boys, if they talk to each other, they forget their zip code. So it's been interesting. I wonder, we don't have any female members of the NHSCA for New Jersey.
I think we have one, Coach Wise at the Lawrenceville school.
Oh, that's right.
We'll have to get her on.
We do.
Yeah.
She's the first lady then.
Yeah.
She's
She's
like the first lady, yeah,
of New Jersey.
of New
Yeah.
Jersey. Excellent. She's on the list then. We're automatically getting her on. What else do we got, Paul? What other question?
We had Kevin Sampson talked
Yep.
about applying for a strength and conditioning job for one team. So he said specifically, what if I was applying for just one team? And he put football, for instance. What were some of the questions you'd expect to hear from the athletic department, and how would you go about maybe uh, putting down what you're supposed to get paid?
Yeah, that's such an interesting question. So, Samson was an intern at my Edison. That was my first location. Then he was a strength coach there. He interned at Rutgers. He interned at Princeton. I think he interned at Princeton when it was the COVID. So he was doing a lot of virtual stuff. So Samson is private right now, private sector. And what runs through my mind when you try to train football is, if there is no strength coach at the high school, well, football runs the weight room. Football has a lot of pressure on mandatory lifting. Okay. And so usually you don't want to go after the football. You want to go after the kids that get no love. So you want to get the girls' teams that aren't getting time in the weight room. And I know you mentioned, first of all, I've emailed many athletic directors. They've never responded, to be honest, including I trained a kid. He's now in college. I trained him for 7 years, and I was never able to get through to his dad. Would come in and talk to me all the time, and his dad never brought me in to the high school to do something at all. Who knows why, right? I don't know why. He never kind of, you know, got through. The teams did their thing, I think was essentially what he was saying. And I'm taking my son to you because that's what I want. And I think sometimes it's hard to connect with the coaches. So there's a couple layers there. You need the connection with a coach, which likely will start from a parent who is connected to the coach, who the coach trusts. Then the coach has to take it to the athletic director, which is administration, which then you need for liability reasons to become approved by the board. You might be a volunteer and then they pay you through the booster. And if you're really trying to get your foot in the door, you may not talk about money at first. You might just say, you might just do an awesome job and then they find a way to pay you through the booster club.
Mhm.
That's just sometimes the way things work. And some of the booster clubs have a lot of money. They do the snap raise thing. And
Yep.
yeah, so that's the tricky thing. But I will say this, Paul, that's the double-edged sword to being a strength coach. We're so afraid to talk about money. What if, like, let's say, Running Man, he's an accountant.
Mhm.
Hey, Running Man, do my books for my business. Come do it for free. He'd say, Zach, and look, I'm twice his age. He's 22 or 23. He would say, Zach, I can't do that for free, but here we are as strength coaches. You're always starting out as a volunteer. It's strange. And I think I don't really have an answer as to what kind of pay we start out. I don't think that's a topic you get into right away.
Mhm.
And here I'm going to say this thing that I'm letting you do it. A couple weeks ago, I mentioned that a local football coach came to visit. his team, I think, is number one in the state, or at least number one in the group.
Mhm.
Well, he came because the kids we train, there's only a small handful who train with him. It never interferes, because I always ask them, what did you do at school? Boom, boom, boom. I did this, this. Then I look at what we're doing. I change. I do something that's complementary and that doesn't crush them, so that when they go to work out at the school, they never say, Coach, I did this at the underground. I can't do that. He don't want to hear that. No coach wants to hear that. And it's my job as a private guy who has special equipment and all this stuff to work around him. It really is my job. Same thing if I had a kid coming from Hunter and Central, I would say, what did you do with Coach Colodi? Okay, you squatted. Well, we've got squats today. I'm not working around. That's not good. The guy at the high school with all the craziness going on, he needs to have, a pretty generalized program. So I think if you have some connections, that's great. And schools are tough. I think the sport clubs are where you want to connect. A basketball club, a wrestling club, a softball club. And you want to just do something like, hey, I'd love to help. I'm a local strength and sport performance coach. I could come and run your team through a warm up. I could show up at the end and do a 15-minute thing on nutrition for them. And you get your foot in the door by demonstrating your expertise and value.
Mhm.
Because unless the parent was a competitive athlete, they don't really know what they're getting into, to be honest with you. They don't know how I teach a squad is different than the place up the street or down the street. They just think it's the same, unless their son or daughter say, I'm not getting much out of this.
Mhm.
So how did you get into Hunter and Central? You were working there already as an athletic trainer, correct, Paul?
No, I was,
We did this story. We did
yep.
this.
I left the hospital where I was working with the Patriots and
That's
Sky
right.
Blue, and whatever the position I left for folded after 3 months. So I was actually a device salesman for
That's
uh,
right.
ACL, shoulders. And one day I was going to a call in New Brunswick, and the AD at Hunter and Central called and said, "Hey, we're looking for somebody. Our guy's leaving. So if you know anybody, just pass my name on." And I got home that night. My wife and I talked. I'm like, "This may be a good situation." And I called Mr. Rossi that next day and asked to sit down. The rest was history. 10 years later, we're still cranking.
What is he still there, that athletic director?
He left. I want to say 3 years. 3 years after I
Retired?
got there. Yeah, he retired.
What's his last name? Rossi?
Rossi. Yeah, he's one of the top guys. He was the president of the New Jersey Athletic Directors Association, and now he does a lot of national stuff.
I
He
wonder if
moved.
his son was the wrestler Ken Rossi from Jefferson.
No, his son, that Coach Rossi, is in Flemington right now. His son's a freshman for us, and he's going to wait till you see this guy.
Yeah, because there's
He,
a Rossi. I think he coaches at he was from Jefferson, coached at Jefferson. He's my age,
Mhm.
Ken Rossi. So he's mid-40s. I think he's at like West Morris or
Westmore
something.
Central. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but he lives in Flemington. They live in Flemington, and
Oh,
oh
that's
yeah, yeah,
the kid that I'm talking about, his son?
yeah. So wait until you see this guy. He's a
Wait,
freshman.
Ken Rossi's son?
Yeah,
The kid I'm talking about, the who used to wrestle at Jefferson.
yeah. Maybe his brother, but it's
Yeah.
it's 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 a Rossi. His son.
They got to
His
be related.
Yeah.
Yep. He was like a 3-time or 4-time state runner up, Ken Rossi.
And when he was at Jefferson, they were number one in the nation at
That's
that
right.
time.
Number one in the country.
Yeah.
Jersey. Don't mess with us, kids. All right. Jersey's got it.
Here's a quick story. I know we're going to get another question. I
Yep.
was coaching with my dad right out of college, and he goes, "Hey, guess who we're wrestling?" I said, we had our Mountain Valley Conference, Bound Brook, and everything. He goes, "No, we got Jefferson." And I knew. I'm like, "What are you,
How did
crazy?"
that get on the schedule?
Yeah. We also had Blair the first year. That was before they got really good.
Yeah.
So it was Coach's first year there, and he was still trying to build the program.
Coach Buxton.
Yeah, so we went from Blair to Jefferson, and oh man, and then we ended up wrestling Paulsboro in the Group One final that year.
Were they
So
always so tough? Because Paul
oh,
Moreno's been there.
they were it was pandemonium down there, but we were tough. Marino came up to my dad. I was standing right behind him. He's like, "Man, you had me sweating for a while." So it was, yeah,
Paul, Mr. Coach Moreno, is the principal. I don't know if he's still the wrestling coach. Such a small school. And a couple of years ago, somebody did a documentary on Paulsboro wrestling. It didn't get picked up by any of the networks, but they sent it to me. Maybe I feel like I was coaching at Lehigh when they sent it to me, and I remember watching it, and it was amazing.
you got
And
to
that
pass that
town
on.
is a very tough blue collar, a lot of struggles in that town. I was down there last summer for my son's baseball tournament, neighboring town called Clarksboro.
Hmm.
So everything in for me, it's like I relate it to wrestling. You know, I had the conversations with your brother, and all of a sudden it was the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon. That's how it works. So very cool. Yeah, man. You know, connecting with coaches at the public school is hard because they have liability things and everything needs to be approved by the board. I think best bet is you go and connect with these club coaches
Hmm.
because there's less red tape.
There was a great one from Coach Jancy. He was talking about standards. Do coaches use standards in their weight room, like one and a half times body weight for bench, 2 times body weight for squats? And I thought this was great. And I know Hewitt Tomlin chimed in because Team Builder just put a new feature on there is that you could put goals up for that. And listening to Coach Schofield a couple of weeks ago on the play mentorship, he said Alabama's even switched to the point where their skill guys for squat only do 1.7% of their body weight, and the bigs do 1.9. So it's not like they're going for big numbers. That's all they require. Once you hit that number, they're concentrating on other stuff, athleticism, speed,
Speed.
you know.
Dude,
And
yeah, speed. I think if you look at Kurt Hester on Twitter,
mhm,
I watch his guys squatting all the way down, like below parallel. You see, you know, and Kurt, you know, I did a podcast with him on my Strong Life podcast. You know, he grew up getting trained in Gail Hatch's weightlifting hall. So
mhm,
he learned from the beginning world class weightlifting technique. Boom. Then he took and then he did speed training with forgetting the guy's name now. The guy's like his speed training is in Disney World at the Wide World of Sports. Tom,
oh, really?
I forget the guy's name. So like Kurt learned from like the masters
Hmm.
and deep squats. You know what Kurt told me? Speaking of standards, he texted him. He goes, "Yeah, when we came back postseason, he's like, if one guy doesn't squat all the way to depth, the whole team does 10 up downs." He goes, so on first week, every group is doing 40 to 50 up downs. He goes, the second week, 10 to 20 up downs. He goes, third week, miraculously, everybody could squat to depth because the team has to, you know, if one guy's doing it wrong, the whole team's got to suffer, which, you know, I don't like to punish with exercise, but burpees suck. So,
Yeah.
you know,
I
I feel like there's got to be some sort of a way to do it. I don't have standards. I think, you know, the record board is tricky because when I was in Edison, they had what's called the perch. You got your name on like a wooden plaque if you could, you know, what was it? I guess you would total 1,000 squat. It was like bench 300, squat 400. Maybe it was like bench 315, squat 405, clean 225, something like that. You get on the perch. Well, this one kid had all the records. He trained with me and he could barely do a body weight lunge. He had to do push-ups with his hands elevated, but he could bench 315 and it was like he couldn't move. He was
Yeah.
really strong and useless.
I'm going to steal Coach Schofield again. You know, he says that if it doesn't help him play more, play better, why are you chasing that number? You know, so, you know, play more, make sure you're healthy, doing all the stuff you have to do to stay on the field, and then play better. Then again, at athleticism,
Yeah.
all the stuff. And, you know, if again, chasing that standard, I know you want to have goals, but Um, I'm quoting a lot of guys. I'm dropping names, but
Good.
Coach Boone says, goals are for individuals. That's an individual thing. Like he says, a goal of mine is to brush my teeth every morning. But if you truly have a mission, that has to be a team oriented thing. So if you want to try and get to a 1.7 body weight squat or 1.7 squat, and you get jacked up along the way, and it hurts your team because you're hurt and you can't play, well,
Right.
that's it's an individual goal, but it's not protecting the mission. We want to make sure that we're doing everything so that we can play better. And there was
I
one comment
love
on
that.
there. It said, as long as their form is good, I'll keep increasing the weight, and the weight can keep going up. But if it affects their form, we got to stay the same or go down. You know?
What? Do you have any kids? I've got a few kids. For me, if people know me, they know how emotional I get and passionate about
Yeah.
stuff. I've got a few kids that like they struggle with me telling them, listen, go lighter and we got to squat lower. Do you have kids that are like, they just struggle with that? They just don't want to go lighter to go lower. They're just going to say, I can't get lower. They got like 50 reasons why they can't do it, yet deep down, it's like they just don't want to do it.
Yeah,
You have any of that?
it's the teenage brain, man. That testosterone flowing through. They see their buddy on the rack next to them, and it ends up being a competition, and
Right. Which is good, which
it
is
is
good
good.
to have competitors. Sometimes I think, and we had this conversation, it's my memory's very hazy lately about I'm always so like trying to be optimal with their training. Don't miss a rep. If a guy has to touch the bar, you went too heavy. Blah, 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 blah. But like we had this, but then it's like, how tough are these kids going to get if everything's so perfect with the training and
Mhm.
they're not pushing? And then we had a conversation about something like this with this optimal and perfect in our early podcast. Maybe it was somebody else I had a podcast with. I can't remember what it was, but you know, when I talk to a sport coach and I'm like, hey, what do you want me working on with your kids? They're like, dude, we need guys tougher.
Mhm.
We need them tough. They break down when they're challenged or pushed around. And so if the training, hey, don't touch the bar, don't miss a rep. Like, how do you know if you're pushing hard if you never miss, or once in a while miss? I don't want you missing every training session, of course. There's got to be an element of like just tough work in there.
That's why I love the APRE or 5-3-1. I mean, you tell the kids 5-3-1. First set, you got to stick with your number. Second set, you stick with your number. Third set, you stick with your number. You do all of those right. Fourth set, let it rip. It's some max reps on that last one, and I let them go. Sometimes I'll give them a cap, but if they have their right numbers dialed into the percentages, and it's in Team Builder and it comes up on their list, they'll usually, if say it's a 5 week, they'll usually be able to get 5 to 8 somewhere in there. They get
Mhm.
8, man, they're fired up. They get 5, and you see them kind of sit up or stop the exercise. Like, oh, 5. I'm like, whoa, 5 is what you were supposed to get. So don't sweat on that,
Yeah.
you know. So, and then they'll struggle to get that sixth one or seventh one. And that's why I love the 5-3-1, because it's not every set. It's just that last one. Let's
Last
get
set.
at it a little bit at it.
Your beat by using Team Builder, your kids could see that. See, I don't use any software. I go by the whiteboard and try to teach them to make jumps. I just don't want. So, what do the kids have the phones in the weight room?
They do, and I walk around and make sure that they're not on their phone. But hey, I did the same as you. I had a calculator on my whiteboard, and I
Yeah.
went in there and I had them put it up, and they could write it on the whiteboard, their numbers, so they knew what they were doing.
You know
And if
what's?
there's good,
Oh no, you go ahead. Go ahead.
if there was a kid similar to their weight, they knew that it was a 5-10 pound difference in there.
Right. Something I think about a lot. I teach the kids spotting techniques all the time, and they're awkward with it. If I'm spotting somebody when you squat, we can have one guy on each side, or somebody should be able to spot you by the chest. In the I have it here. I'm not going to grab it, but I did this with play called Iron Roots, and I spoke about the touch system, which was a spotting technique. So what I remember doing as a teenager, like my late teens, when I would get to my heaviest set, I would say to the training partner, stay with me light. So let's say I was squatting 405. I could get 5. Then I would go to 455 and I would go for 3. And I would say, stay with me light. It means just put your hands on my chest, but don't save me. You're just there. So I tell them, when you see a guy grinding on a squat or a bench, you could put your hand on the bar and you're just touching it. You're not, it's like maybe you're giving 2 pounds, but you just stay with them. It gives the person the confidence to grind it. But if you touch the bar, then that is the last rep.
Mhm.
That's going to be the last rep.
Yeah.
I remember saying to a kid, I'm like, all right, stay with him, spot him, put your hands on his chest. He's like this, goes to the waist. I go, chest. He's looking at me. I go, put your hands on his chest. He's like, touch his chest. I was like, yes, touch his chest. Like they were afraid, you know? Like, you got to go right there, because what that does is I'm touching the person's chest. Their natural instinct is posture up. And so we want that, like, drive into the bar when we squat. We don't want a chest down position. And look, I like sharing this because I don't want people thinking my programming is perfect, my training is perfect. Every day I'm looking at stuff and I'm like, oh man, like this could have been better, that could have been better. I gave them too long of a speech. You know what I did that I think was good this week? I feel good about it was with the football team. I said I went to 3 kids, the quarterback, and two of the guys that have been really consistent. They're going to all be seniors. I said, listen, I'm not going to go outside with you. Organize hill sprints, organize whatever you want. I said, talk to the guys about commitment, consistency. Talk to them about listening, as you know, when I'm coaching them. Talking about whatever you want. I said that because I'm telling them what to tell them to talk about. Takes away all leadership. Go talk to them about doing team stuff. Then today, so that was, today's Tuesday. So that was yesterday. Today we sprinted in the beginning. Then I was taking them out to sprint again at the end. And I said, we're going to do some short sprints. I'm telling them what they're going to do. And one of the kids that I sent out yesterday to organize said, hey, yesterday we did relays and this and that. I said, you know what? You guys do your thing. I went and talked to them a little bit. I said, I've been very hard on you guys. I go, I know sometimes I'm talking about winning. I go, I'm not necessarily talking about winning games and points on the board, you know, and I gave him a little bit of like the John Wooden, like winning is an internal game. You know, what if you beat a team that's maybe not so good, but you guys didn't play your best? That's not truly winning. And I said, what I'm pushing you for is success in all areas of life. And I go, if I'm tough on you, that's, you know, that's because I love you guys.
Yeah.
And if I'm not tough on you, that's not good. And I go, if I say it to you, I would do no different for my son. So if I'm, you know, telling you to squat lower or bench this way, like it's because I'm doing it to help you get better. So I said, I'm going to go in. You guys train as hard or do whatever you think you need to do. Close it out on your own and do your thing. And I'm almost at the point where I'm going to give them like a free day when we train. Like I'm going to go and warm them up and say, okay, get into some groups, put together your own workout, do whatever you think you need to do and what you want to do. And I ain't judging. Do your thing and just don't decapitate yourself on the bench and we'll be all right. So I feel like I've been hovering on them a lot and I'm maybe like breaking some of them, you know, because I'm just trying to get them as one.
Yeah, you just let them
So,
know that, you know, we know we have a good idea what you're capable of based on how
yes,
you move and what you're doing, and even more than you think that you're capable of. We're pretty confident, or else we wouldn't be saying that to them.
yeah,
And there is some trust and truth. We talk about truth and trust when it comes to growth. And I tell them all the time, hey, listen, I'm telling you the truth. This is going to work. You got to trust me, and we're going to get this done together. And, you stay with them and you talk them through it. And the best feeling is, when they finally get it done and they,
yeah.
they sit up or they turn around and they look at you like, I did it, and
It
it's,
takes time. Brett Bartholomew says, like, you can't just say, hey, trust me.
mhm,
They need a reason to trust you.
Yep.
So I keep
Context.
that in mind, and I'll share a story. He said that helps create connection and meaningful connection.
Mhm.
So I'll say, look, I trained this kid. He could box squat 495, bench 315, deadlift 495, but he couldn't do lunges. Then when he got to college, the college coach emailed me and said, he's useless. He's always hurt. And I said, that's why I'm focusing on speed with us. Because as you get more explosive and you build this speed and power, you will move more weight. Eventually, we need speed.
Mhm.
And then I'll say, okay, so at the end of 5 sets of benching today, you could go back to your warm up weight and do 3x3 speed, or you could do the warm up weight for 1 set of max reps. I'll leave it up to you. If you need more speed, do speed. If you need more muscle, do the max reps.
Mhm.
And then I'll say, hey, you could be great, but you need to be doing 100 push-ups a day. That's why you still can't bench press 95 pounds. You're not fighting for it. And I'm just telling you what needs to be done. It sounds tough now, but 100 push-ups is nothing.
Yeah.
It's
We
nothing.
we talk about it in our Desire to Lead with Coach Boone that, the difference between a manager and a leader. Manager just tells you what to do, where a leader brings context into the conversation and gives you a little bit of depth
Yeah.
on the why and the how. And once the kids hear those things, then they understand. And, I'm doing a better job at that because we're trying to learn, like you said, every day and get better. And
Yeah. I'm trying to learn. And sometimes I'm like, man, I, I, I think I was too tough on that kid. I broke him. Um, when I was student teaching at an elementary school, fall of 1997, a guidance counselor told me, always finish on a positive. So if a kid has to sit out or do something, you always make sure they get back in and they play and they finish. And I remembered that. And so if a kid would just at the elementary school, you get a kid to sit for 2 minutes. If he's getting wild, not listening, you say, Paul, come over here. You put your arm around him. Do you think you could be a good boy? You could be a good listener. Yes, I think I could do it. Awesome. I know you could do it. You're going to go in. I want you to have an awesome rest of this game because I love having you in this class. So you just finish on a positive. Sometimes I got to say it to a high school kid like, listen, we argued a little bit over there. Okay. I love you. Let's finish on a positive. I'm coaching you hard because I need you to get through it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
get them better. So we're working very hard on trying to communicate better. And sometimes my passion is a double-edged sword, for those who are asking, hey, what does administrator ask? I remember Rich and the administrators they loved my interview because they could tell how excited I got over things, but sometimes it works against me because I want so much out of everything and everybody and myself that it could work against you. And so sometimes being a little more level is good. And so I need to acquire that trait a little bit to be better as a coach.
no
Yeah.
doubt.
Yeah, no doubt, bro. So anything else or should we
Last
start?
one,
Last
last one,
one.
and we're gonna go with what you were just talking about there. Coach Gardis talked about. Does anyone do just give a coach a call and have a chalk talk with them, or just talk about programming? And this is how this started basically, and that's what I wanted to tell them, that you know make your connections, get in touch, and you never know what's going to happen as far as meet them for breakfast or you start a podcast. I mean, I have a blast with this. You make me so comfortable doing this, and
It's
this
fun.
is this is what you do. And I'm so excited that you invited me in, and we got this going. And everybody's been saying they just enjoy listening to what we're doing because we're just having a conversation and
Yeah.
with Coach Fearson and everybody else.
Well, I think when we came up with this, I was like, dude, I don't want to do this alone. In fact, I didn't want to be the director unless you were helping me. And so, because I knew it was going to be a lot. So I think it's always going to be more fun if you can bounce ideas and connect with other coaches. And we've mentioned it before that you get so busy that you're like kind of on your own island. And so for coaches, to organize family day and stuff like that would be great. I'm coming up soon. Okay. Okay. So I look forward to when we could do, get a family day going. I'm going to get knee surgery the end of March. And then once I'm off those crutches, hashtag family day. So
Yes, sir.
make it happen. So everybody listen out there, a reminder that March Madness for NHSSCA.us is 25% off. Super important to become a member now. It's, and see if you're at a school, see if administration or your department can, that would be continuing education, like funding in the budget.
Mhm.
And if you're a private sector guy, this is just great connecting, because you may end up like me, having a private facility and working at a high school. And sometimes those things don't start as full-time positions. They start as a volunteer or a part-time. So, next time we're going to be organizing with our advisory board members. We already had Coach McKenna. So we're going to get John Torian, who's at Princeton High School, who I don't even know if he's in a weight room yet.
We'll find out.
We got to get him on first, and then we'll get Mark Rosamilia, who's at Middletown High School North. Him and I are in the same school district. We got hired same time, and it'll be great. So Paul, shut it down. Everybody, thank you so much. Please share with friends, share with administrators, and please leave a review on Apple Podcasts. That helps this get out to other high school strength coaches. Okay, I'm going to shut it down. Hang tight 1 second, Paul.